ago when I was traveling with my friends, they were laughing because of my English. I made a decision. I'm going to be good in speaking English. I'm going to move. I'm going to make the move.
Nok Orison has mastered transformation, personally and professionally. From the land of fire and ice to London's bustling streets, he explores Iceland's influencer culture, entering new markets and the power of storytelling.
I came here in 2021. It's a one-way ticket. I'm always moving our stuff and things like that. It was 26 baths that I was sleeping in just really short period of time. I was so determined and I was so focused on coming here. My passion is to supporting others. Secret to living is giving. So you're keeping giving.
Secret to living is giving. I like that.
The budget into influencer marketing is 4 times more.
Wow.
So it's really growing a lot.
I know a lot of people who want to put themselves out there, somehow daunting to think, oh my God, why would people want to listen to me? Like who the hell cares about me?
It's not a single person that doesn't have the doubts of why me? Why should people listen to me? You need to, of course, understand what you want to give. How to do these things is just, first of all, understand what I believe in will be the trend in 2025 and also just in the future is that.
Welcome to the Immigrant Founders Pod, where we explore incredible stories of entrepreneurs who've crossed borders and created thriving businesses against all odds. And today, we're joined by Nok Orison, who is a co-founder of Lydia. Nok, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to be honest with you. The first time I reached out to you, I had no clue your popularity in Iceland. So let's just start there. Tell me about that.
Yeah, when I was 18 years old, I started creating content on social media for my college. And that went bigger than we thought. A couple of friends came together and created a show for the college. But then, many people in Iceland start liking it. And I didn't have any talent in what I was doing. I was just passionate and ambitious for what we were doing and having a lot of fun. So that had some kind of a snowballing effect on my career in the last 12 years, and I'm here definitely because of that. So yeah. So and then I understand that you, of course, didn't know that because Iceland is a really small population, a beautiful country, but of course you didn't know about my background, and I thought I would be asking questions if you knew that.
Well, to be honest, I think that is not more so on how small Iceland is, but it's more so on our research. I think that's a feedback for me. Well, we should have done listened more research. But I mean, it was a good surprise also. We're like, oh shit, wow, and he's famous, which is fantastic.
I think in Iceland you can be well known, but we don't have a famous or celebrities or things like that. But you can be well known because we're so small community. So that's how I look at it.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. So how's the whole influencer content creator community in Iceland? I mean, are there many more people getting into this? Is it looked at as a thing that you do, like a livelihood perspective, or this is just a waste of time?
Definitely, when we were doing this in 12 years ago, we just got a deals from companies about free products and things like that. But when we wanted to make this our full-time job after college, there was no question in my mind to just go for it and make it my full-time job and make it a business. Then we start asking, of course, companies to say hey, we are getting this much views and this much reads. We see it as an opportunity for you to promote your product. They were like, no, we're not gonna pay for videos on Facebook. We were doing it on Facebook and YouTube at that time. But to today, definitely people can work as an influencer in Iceland, and is a beautiful in that way people in Iceland that are talking to Icelandic people, they don't have millions of followers because we don't have millions of Icelandic people. So you can have for myself 10,000 or 20 or 30,000, and you can make it a full-time job and just live be an influencer. And that's been for a while. Like 8 years ago, I started my influencer agency. So in the first year, when I was just a content creator myself and I was doing it in front of the camera myself, I loved it, but my passion is to supporting others. So in 2016, I started doing that, and after that, we had like the opportunity to work with great talented people in Iceland, influencers that I'm here today because of them, because I learned so much from them, and then just like the partnership with them, started making an earning of it and making a business around it and products around it. So yeah, definitely a great environment. Iceland is a great country to be an influencer, in my opinion. And I'm like really proud of and grateful for being a part of that journey, like being one of the first companies. We were literally the first company in Iceland, my company, previous company, to start earn from social media, from creating content on social media, and also people around us, and be a part of that journey and history in Iceland was amazing.
Oh wow, that's
Definitely.
that's super interesting. Super interesting also because you were a content creator first, and then you saw the opportunity for yourself, but then a bigger opportunity how you can help other people gain, the same opportunities that you had. So Nok, you have a business in the UK now, Lydia. We'll talk about that in a little bit short while, but before that, do you still have the company in Iceland, or are you still running two businesses simultaneously, or not? Okay.
I made a decision to solely focus on the UK business. So I sold all my shares in the Icelandic business. Of course, the dream was to have the Icelandic business going international. But I had a really great co-owner in that business. But he wanted to more focus on Iceland and stay there. But I wanted to go international and focus more on the UK business. So we separated, and we just didn't have the same vision for what we want to do. So that's why I sold my shares in that company to solely focus on UK business.
And this was your first business, or have you had something before that as well? Okay, so talk me through that.
Yeah, like first business, like if I after college we got a contract from one of the biggest media companies in Iceland. So they said like, okay, you can do content on social media, but at that time TV was the only thing, not the only thing, of course, radio and a lot of things, but like what we could have income from, because social media was not giving us income yet. So we signed a deal and we went to work with a media company. After like 8 months or something, they didn't see the value in us, so they fired us. But it was really like first time I got fired. So I said, yeah, interesting, okay. But I didn't lose faith in myself and what we were doing, because I saw both the clicks and the plays on the like the website, the media website that we were working on, and also on the TV and also on social media. I saw like really a lot of followers on social media and views. So I was like, I didn't lose faith. I was like, I had unwavering faith in our team and what we're doing. So we kept on going. But we were, because of the comfort zone is a strong thing. We went to the next, or like in some way, another big company, media company in Iceland, one of the oldest newspaper in Iceland, and also a big media company. They have a big media website and things like that, news website. And we started working for them. 8 months in, they didn't see value in us. It's about like the same circle. So really, I learned a lot first 2 years of my what can I say, my career after college. I learned a lot, got fired twice. That was a really good lesson. So then I started my business. So I was forced into like starting a business. And that's when we started going. Of course, I had previously talked to brands and companies about sponsoring our social media content while we were doing the media thing. So I had some connections, but then we just doubled down on that, batted on that. So my first company was just an entertainment company that has the mission of helping others to be well known and to be influencers. So we made an entertainment company around that. So that was our mission. So that was my first business.
And how come the whole personal branding or content creation type of vertical? Because, okay, there's a lot of content creators out there, But the reality is majority of the human beings on this planet are not content creators. Like it's very difficult for people to put themselves in front of a camera. So are you an extrovert? I mean, is it something that you always wanted to do? Like, I mean, what pushed you into this direction?
Really, really good question. I've worked with a lot of influencers, and so many of them, like probably a little bit more than, and yeah, probably I'll say 60%. I'm a little bit guessing now, are more introverted because they start at their home, in their bedroom, creating content just with themselves and the camera. So we have a lot of introverts working with us who are like really, really good at what they're doing. But in my case, because it was like a little bit different time there, and it was like it was for my school. It was not. I didn't start with I'm gonna post on social media. I start with I'm gonna show my college this show. Like I'm gonna create this show for my college to entertain them. So it was more like that, and that's why it was really good for me to be an extrovert. I'm a big extrovert. Every personality test that I take, I'm really high on the extrovert scale. I've been practicing my introvert side the last 4 or 5 years, and I've been doing it really intensely. So it's really fun also to mention. But yeah, it definitely helped me to be extroverted there, 100%. And just like, yeah, I'm a really enthusiastic person. So and I it's like it probably like my scale of like I like almost everything, but it's like I like almost everything. Or like my scale is more like liking or into loving. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like
Nothing is just for you.
yeah. I don't bother like things that I don't like. Okay, of course there's some things that I don't like, but like I'm more focusing on that aspect of what is going on. So that helped me a lot, 100%, to be an entertainer, and I loved entertaining and pleasing. Also, I'm gonna use that word mindfully. I was a pleaser, definitely. I was pleasing the college crowd. I was pleasing with views and things like that. But now I'm less into pleasing everybody, but I definitely, of course, want to make a good impression.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean that a lot of people have that issue where they're people pleasers, and I think that only comes at their own detriment. Sometimes, I mean, it impacts your mental health and so on, and it just causes a lot more stress and anxiety. So I'm glad you've found that balance.
Yeah,
It's also interesting, Nok, that you mentioned. I mean, even if it's 60% or 65 or 70 or 55, doesn't matter the actual stats. But what you're saying is majority of the content creators that you've come across are actually introverts. I mean, that's quite interesting. I mean, why would you think so? Because as a layperson now, as an outsider, I would not think that.
Yeah,
It's like, how?
It's like the people that start creating content a lot is by themselves. Like it starts with just interesting. Like I want to post on TikTok. I want to do these things. So that's my experience of it. Like and then when I speak to people about like why did you start, it was just like I did like a lot of stories come from I didn't have anything to do in the lockdown. I was like a lot of stories come from that now, but like yeah, just creating content by themselves and having fun. And it's so important that you like creating content and what the content you're creating. That's really important. Then they just accidentally get like a lot of followers and when you're creating content on social media, you don't understand. It's just like it's a little bit hard for us as a human to understand how many people are actually watching. These are just numbers. So if you get like million views, okay, that's cool. Like 1 million views, that's a lot. But if you will see like 1 million people in front of me, people are like, but like people, like 1 million people saw your post. Like 1 million views doesn't necessarily mean that there was 1 million people, but if 1 million people saw your post, they saw your post, saw what you created. But standing on a stage in front of 1 million people, that would be a challenge for most of the people that I worked with. So yeah, I think that's the background story behind it and why so many introverts are there, because extroverts are much more like of course out there and not as much creating maybe by themselves, and can be probably hard for some extroverts to be by themselves and creating on them like by themselves. It's more like into groups or starting something like a little bit in a different road. But yeah, it's like definitely interesting from my experience. No science behind it.
No, of course. But I mean, now that you're saying it and I'm trying to understand that, it kind of also makes sense because, I'm an introvert, I'm by myself, I'm sitting in my room, my bedroom, and I'm just okay. I just flip the camera open and somehow I'm in my own space and I'm not interacting, I'm not going out, I'm just being in my own space and I'm like, okay, let me just create content. It's kind of making sense though, also. Um, However, okay, so obviously we know the importance of personal branding. This what we're doing now is also off the back of, focusing on our personal brand and how that, and you and I can leverage from that personal brand as well. So, but it's easier said than done. You're in this business, you're in this space. So, what are the few things that, people can do? Because I know a lot of people who want to put themselves out there, but it's just so difficult for them. I also must say that since I started working on my personal brand, I have a new profound respect for content creators because it's hard. When you're just watching a TikTok video or anything, just like one post on LinkedIn, you would just think, okay, it's just a few seconds and that's it. You just move away because as a content consumer, you're just scrolling. You're just scrolling and then you're just giving like maybe 1, 2, 3 seconds of attention to that one post. But there's a lot of work that goes behind that. Like it's just crazy. So it's hard, it's time consuming, and then it's also somehow daunting to think, oh my God, like why would people want to listen to me? Like who the hell cares about me? Like it's just so crap. And then you feel cringe and you don't want to post. But I know a lot of people want to post. A lot of founders want to post because the whole landscape of businesses have also changed. As we know, people don't buy from companies, people buy from people. So the importance of founders posting, the importance of people in general posting as well. I think that's just because today your CV has become the personal brand, So how can people have a different mindset or what can they do?
It's a great question, and I understand all these things. And I've in my career as a content creator myself in the beginning, and also working with a lot of these people, I understand this, and everybody. It's not a single person that doesn't have the doubts of like, why me? Why should people listen to me? And some people have like millions of views, and they say like millions of followers. Because I've been privileged to work with people that has millions. They have millions of followers, and they're asking me at a meeting like, why do they want to follow?
Wow.
Like, why do they? Like, it's like a lot of like really interesting, but it's like this imposter syndrome. It's just like how our human brain works. So I understand, and in my job, it's been really, really important for me to understand the human brain as well as possible, in a way that it can help me and to also help others. But so for like the how to do these things is just first of all understand this is okay. It's okay to feel these emotions. Like it's okay to doubt yourself as soon as you start doubting your doubts. So it's a little bit of like, if you understand, okay, I'm doubting myself. If you should doubt something, start doubting your doubts. So it's like, and also just like these things are all is okay to feel these things, but of course important to not let them rule or control your decision. So start with that, like these things, all these emotions are okay, and then build up of like, hey, I'm doing this for people out there. I'm doing this, of course, for me, but I'm doing this as a service to people, for a comedian, to entertain, make people laugh. How important is help people laugh through the day. If you get outside of yourself and inside of like what you're doing as a contribution, as a giving, you're giving, then it starts be less about you and how cringe you can be. Like some people, like definitely a lot of people in Iceland think I'm so much cringe. but like it's just like it's not about that. It's about like how much can I like share, and for us, like we had a great conversation when we were talking about this podcast. Just you talking about your story, for me, it's like I truly believe it's a disservice to people that you're not telling your story. You know what I mean? So like that's how I look at it, and it's just like get out from like, it's not about me. It's more about who I'm giving it to. So that's my first like how to go to is get over yourself in some sense.
I love that.
In a beautiful way.
It's so interesting, Nok, that you say that, because the reason, so, I started working on my personal brand. I think it's been about 6-7 months now. I mean, I've been trying to do it since the last 4 or 5 years, but not consistent and not really putting in the effort. I do it for, like, as a sprint. I do it a few days, and then I stop for a few months. Then I start few days and few months. But last couple of months, I said, okay, I need to focus on my personal brand and I need to keep going. And the biggest problem for me has been, all the things that we spoke about. Oh, why would people want to listen to me, and who am I to talk about my story and this and that? But I think the main reason has been where, like, I just felt very egoistic somehow. Like, I'm like, why am I talking about myself? Like, who do I think I am? So from a very selfish perspective, I just felt I was too selfish because it was all about me, 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 me. So it's very interesting how you almost flipping the script. So it's not about me; it's actually about them. And thank you, by the way, for mentioning about my story as well.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Okay,
I mean,
it's really inspiring.
because already thinking about that, I'm like, oh shit, like, yeah, if you just flip the script and everything is just perspective, right? I mean, life is all about perspective.
Definitely.
As soon as I flip the script, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, like I don't want to do a disservice for people. Like I do want to help people. I mean, that is why we're in business as well. Like, how many lives can you impact? So thank you for that. I'm actually going to use that.
Yeah, definitely, of course. And what like, why is it like, why do you have momentum now? I want to ask, like, also for people to listen, like, because you tried for many years, and trying is, of course, like, is not really impactful strategy. If we're gonna try to meet next week, how likely are we gonna meet?
Yeah.
But if you say, like, I'm going to do it, so what changed it for you? What happened there? Why are you so consistent now? And why is this going on? Like, I will be interesting to hear if you want to share.
Sure. Absolutely. No, thank you actually for asking me that question as well. Good question, because I asked myself this question as well. Because I tried a couple of times before and it never worked. But this time around, I told myself I have to do it. And I have to start looking at my personal brand as if I'm just creating a brand. So removing the word personal from the brand, like I've created other businesses. So like I'm creating Plum, And so really I started treating this personal brand game as if I'm starting a new business. And then, which requires discipline, which requires hard work, which requires consistency. So I just mapped everything that I know about creating businesses into my personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I mean, I can't take away the whole credit. To be honest with you, now I've got a team, and, there's a lot of people who are really working diligently and hard every single day. I mean, even this pod is now shot, and we've got a team behind this pod.
I see that beautiful setup. Like,
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. So definitely it's a team effort, but now I've started looking at it deliberately, consciously, not that I'm going to try and doing it. No, I have to do it because there's multiple reasons, obviously. Like, we spoke about people buy from people and so on. And I think it's very important for us to share our stories because I think that connection and that trust is only created or fosters when you share your story. If people don't know your story, how can they connect with you? Like, that's super important. And really, ultimately for us, because, we're in the mental health space as well. Of course, we're HR, but mental health is really at our core. Sharing that narrative and changing that conversation is super important for us. And I mean, if this is the way, then we have to do this way. So that's what's shifted for me, at least.
Yes, really good, really good. Yeah, so it must happen. From trying to must, I have to do it. That's really good, really good.
Yeah.
And if I can ask you, on a little bit
Yeah,
level,
for sure.
Like, and why? I understand, like, you're doing this because of personal branding is really important, but why? And also just for your business and everything, why are you doing that? Like, I'm so interested in the why of things. Like, and if you can share with me, like, why go in this route, and why do what you're doing? Like, I would be really interested to hear.
From a personal branding perspective, right?
No, just so we have just like, my question would be probably like, just why personal branding? Okay, because it's good. You were talking about, like, it's a good for a story. It's a connection, but why do you need connections, and why are you why are you doing your business? Like, why your business?
I mean, the ultimate goal is to help people thrive. I was in a very dark place in 2016. We shared that as well. And when I came out of that headspace, Nok, I really did not want to survive on this planet anymore. I really wanted to thrive. I strongly believe that human beings are put on this planet not only to survive, but to thrive. And the possibilities are just endless. I think the only blocker is our mind. As soon as you're able to unblock that, like things can just magically change for you, transform for you, and also you then have the ability to impact so many people around you. So for me, I keep telling myself and I keep telling our team as well, oh my God, I want to change the world. Like any other founder of a company, yes, you want to change the world. But for me, what it really means is changing the world is how can I change my world and the 5 people around me. And then hopefully those 5 people are able to change their world and the 5 people around them. And that then becomes a ripple effect, like a positive ripple effect. So my why is really, how can I help people thrive? Because I was in that negative headspace, and I know, a lot of people, anxiety and stress these days, it's just become a norm. It's just become a part of life. There's various factors to it. And if there's anything that we can do to help elevate that and to help people thrive, I would do anything it takes for people to be able to achieve that. And that can be through Plum, or through my personal brand, or through this pod that we're doing now. Hopefully a lot of people listening, we are able to inspire and educate them as well and help them thrive. So anything that we do. And I, just to add a little bit on that as well, when I said I was in the negative headspace, I actually had suicidal thoughts. I wanted to take my life. And I'm fortunate I didn't. And I'm here in front of you today. And that really gave me a different perspective to life altogether. Life is just too precious. Like we might not wake up tomorrow. And living life every single day from a perspective where, how can we do better? How can I do better than I did yesterday for myself and for those 5 people around me is super important, because I might not wake up tomorrow. Time is ticking. Time is very, very precious. So, yeah.
Like it. Beautiful. So everything, the must for you was like, I want to help people. Like, so you get, you went out of like thinking about like, how do I look, into just like, this is a tool for me to help people. Personal branding is a tool for me to help people. A business is to help people. So yeah, secret to living is giving. So you keep on giving. So
secret to living is giving. I like that.
So it's from Tony Robbins. So it's not more code.
I didn't even know it's Tony Robbins. I'm just going to say I heard it from Nok. I love that. So Nok, okay, you're in England now. Why are you here? Why did you leave Iceland? What happened?
Same thing. Like we have this, we have that in common. That's why we get along. It's like, I truly believe that I can have influence and with things that I'm doing, and I'm doing my best to do a positive influence. And in Iceland, is a small country when it comes to population, and I love Icelandic people. I love Icelandic market. I'm so grateful for everything, every opportunity that I got there. But I didn't see myself there. Like I was always like, I was not felt like I was a little bit of and I was not part of the gang. Like I was like a little bit outsider, and that's the reason why I just like felt like, wow, I must to move somewhere else, and London and England has always been one of my favorite. London's my favorite city in the world, and still today I've lived here for 3 years, and I love it. So that was definitely a beautiful start to my journey to go outside of Iceland. Definitely so that's why I moved here, because of I truly believe that I belong more here on a bigger market, and I have of course a big vision of having a positive influence on the influencers that we serve, and we are positively obsessed with meeting their needs. So and they have influence, like you're saying, people like we're working with have influence on their followers, and yeah, so forth. So it's a ripple effect, like a snowball effect down the hill. So that's why I moved over.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that is one huge common thread between you and I. I also absolutely believe London is the best city on this planet. I've lived and traveled, a lot of places as well. Like no city like London for me. Like I just love the city. I love the people of the city as well. I feel any city really is just, is made up of the people. I think the energy that I feel here is obviously off the back of the people. I think it's just beautiful people. I think Londoners, it's also interesting. And I've said this a couple of times before as well. Like I've lived here almost 5 years now, but I've never felt home. Like, so sorry, I'll take them. I've never felt home like I feel now.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's just crazy. Like it's only 5 years, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is the city that I should have lived here all my life. But I'm just maybe I'm also grateful that I didn't live here all my life, so I can appreciate it that much more because I didn't have this. So yeah, I think for us as well, the whole startup ecosystem, the investment landscape. I mean, it's such a mature market from that perspective. Yeah, it's just great. The opportunities you get here is great. And the population obviously versus Iceland helps.
It helps with the like the market size definitely helps with scalability and more opportunities definitely for what I'm doing. So
100%.
but I don't also really of course understand like people living in Iceland and it's a beautiful community. Of course, it has the pros and cons, but yeah, definitely I understand also my friends that lives there in my family.
And you're going back for Christmas now, and so best of both worlds.
Totally.
So, you moved to England almost 3 years ago. Did you know people here, or you just, I mean, you came alone, or?
I came with influencers from Iceland. So a group of people. First, I came here like in 2021. It's a one-way ticket. So we went for it, and I was applying for the visa, and that was like I'm not gonna say a mistake. It was a beautiful lesson. So I was here for 3 months doing my visa application thing, and I had to go back to Iceland because you are not allowed to get the visa, go through the visa process in the country. I went back to Iceland, and I was so ready to go back to London as soon as possible because in my head was the visa process was just going to be like a couple of things that I needed to do. But on 19th, on March 19th, then I got my visa, and I came here and I moved here, and it took 6 months from September 19th to March 19th to get the visa process and get like to move here and live here. I was just a tourist coming here in. So yeah, it was definitely a really challenging journey, and probably one of the most challenging things that I've done in my career was waiting for the visa, renting out my apartment in Iceland, ready to come over, really excited to come over, and then I had to practice a lot of I'm not waiting for the visa. I'm just here. But it was definitely a lot of challenge because I was moving around like with the people that like no, we were moving first with people around Airbnbs here because I was not allowed to rent long term. So we're moving around with Airbnbs. We had like 4 or 5 Airbnbs in a really short period of time, always moving our stuff and things like that. So that was challenge. And then coming to Iceland again, one of the person that we were living, was going to live with us here in London, just like bailed out, was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Oh my God.
It's too much hassle. But then I of course, I was so determined and I was so focused on coming here that I was back and forth in apartments for my friends and family in Iceland. So it's definitely 6 months of back and forth through different like houses and different beds. Like I'd counted, like I'm not exaggerating. I slept in my memory is maybe a little bit not exactly, but it was 26 beds that I was sleeping in just like really short period of time. So yeah, I was lucky. Of course, I had opportunity. I had the opportunity. I just like I had people that could take me in, and then I was sleeping like I was a guest at their home. I was really grateful for that. But it was challenging for me to go through all that, and then finally come to London. And since it's been ever since this felt like home to me because I was home. So yeah, almost 3 years now in March.
Wow. I can resonate a lot with that story. So I was also here, visit visa. I had already set up the company, but I didn't have a visa. So it was also quite interesting. I remember the first time I went to open a bank account and they refused for me to open a bank account. I'm like, what? But I have a company. They're like, yeah, but you don't have a resident visa. Like you can't open a bank account. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that actually makes sense. And so I think I was going back and forth Dubai and the UK. I think I did that for about a year, just over a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and quite similar. So I thought, okay, this is going to be a few weeks, maybe 1 or 2 months, and I'm just going to give up my home, and I sold my car, and I did everything that because I'm wrapping up. And also it was important for me to focus. If I didn't do that, then I would always have like a plan B. I'm like, okay, if it doesn't work out, then I can, always stay there, and then, So I also kind of put myself in that position so that I'm forced to, again, so it's not I will try, I was forced to just do it. But then it just took longer than expected. And then, I was also, fortunate. I didn't have to go through 25 beds, but then my mom, so I was living in my mom's house as well, which is also kind of weird because now you're so much older and now you're going back to your mom's house. But hey, what do you do? I mean, that's why families are great. Sometimes maybe not, but most times I think they are. So so it was just back and forth, and finally I got the innovative visa, and then the rest is history.
Goodness.
But yeah, I know how stressful it can be when you somehow don't have the stability of a home. Like a base is very important, and that home does not necessarily have to be because I've gone through those Airbnb moments where like a month and a half, I'm just staying in that place, and somehow I trick my brain thinking, oh, this is my home, but it's not my home. And then that imposter syndrome that we spoke about as well, for me, that imposter syndrome was through the roof because I'm thinking, oh, I'm in this new country trying to do business with these new people, but I'm not even a resident in this country. I don't belong here. I don't have a home here. So will they take me seriously? Am I lying to them? It was so many conflicting thoughts in my head. I'm sure like you can appreciate as well. So but I mean now you're here, and March 19th is also a very interesting date because March 19th is when I officially moved to the UK. It was, I think, 2, 3, 4 days before lockdown. March 19, 2020 is when I moved.
Wow.
But yeah, in our pod call, we spoke about a lot of things, and there were a lot of similarities, including dates, which was really weird.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Coming to this country on the same day, you 2 years earlier than me,
Yeah.
and experienced, of course, lockdown here, but I came pre-COVID. So yeah, it was really interesting that date was like because you also mentioned that date. It was not like, yeah, I moved here like in March, or like I moved here like early 2020 or something. But you mentioned the date. I was like, wow, that was really, really interesting. Yeah, definitely.
That's why, that was honestly one of the motivators for me to start this pod as well. Is just, how do you connect with people who have, who share your lived experiences? I think there's just a different type of connection. This is the first time we meet in person, but that is that common thread. We're both immigrants and we're in this country and we're both creating businesses, it's just a bonus that we have some other things that are also common. But I think that just, it just makes, that whole community aspect a little bit better because when I came here, it was lockdown and it was just loneliness. More than anything else, I came here alone. I didn't have friends, family, no one. And then, so lockdown already, people were lonely, but then I was in a new country, didn't have anyone. So the loneliness was just tenfolds from that perspective. And really the aspiration was, okay, how can I build this community of entrepreneurs, but not just any entrepreneurs who share my lived experience, so
Well done.
yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, definitely helpful.
Thank you for accepting it.
Yeah, of course. It's like,
Yeah.
definitely really helpful.
So, talk to me about Lydia. So the aspiration behind Lydia, but before that, the name Lydia. Where has the name come from?
Like it's an agent for influencers. So it's just you have your agent in your pocket. That's what we are for influencers. So we talked about the introverts and like so many of our clients. They don't wanna. They're not fan of meetings and meeting new people and things like that. So what we are doing. One of the things that we're doing here is that they can just rely on an app and an AI agent that can take care of everything when it comes to paid partnership for them, because paid partnership is something that helps them. Like is one of the reasons why they can make a career and business out of this. So that's where the name comes from. So Lydia is their agent.
Got it. That's interesting. And I honestly thought it's somebody you know.
Yeah,
And maybe
it's also that, like, my co-founder. I need to give my co-founder here, of course, a shout out. Amazing human being, great to work with. One of one of the individuals in this world that understands me the best, and his girlfriend. Her middle name is Lydia. So definitely. Thank you for asking about the meaning of it. There's like why we chose a name like a human name was because of the agent aspect, but where the name come from. That's a shout out to Elvar, my co-founder, and Telma Lydia. Telma Lydia is his girlfriend.
That's beautiful.
A fiance.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Well, all the best to them also. That's beautiful. I think also coming back to the whole premise where people don't buy from companies, people buy from people, and that's why sharing that story is so important. Because okay, now me as the end user, I want to be able to connect with that name. So what's the story behind the name? So I think that's super important.
Definitely agree.
So the whole influence content creator market has drastically changed. I mean, and it's changing exponentially. Like it's growing at the speed of how fast AI is growing, I guess, a few months ago, even I didn't think about how important it is for me to have a personal brand. Off the back of it now, we're already focusing on personal brands of our key execs in the company. Because I can see 2025 is going to be a bigger year than 2024 ever was. LinkedIn, for example, I've been on LinkedIn for about 4 years, and I see how year on year things are changing. Like more people are, people are creating. The whole creation process has also changed. The style of content is changing. The quality of content is changing as well. It's just becoming better and better and better. So where do you feel? Maybe I've answered the question for you, but I don't know because you're the expert. So where do you feel 2025 is going with the whole content creation?
Definitely, I agree with what you're saying. It's a really, really important, and also LinkedIn is really, really exciting platform for business owners and people just like in business in general, not just owners, just execs and just people looking for jobs and things like that. So I'm a really big fan of LinkedIn these days, and I definitely see that going to be a good trend in 2025. My expertise is mainly, I have a great team of people that are expert in what they're doing, and my team has like an expert in being like social media expert into LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn person that takes care of LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth. So my expertise are mainly into helping my team to be the best they can be. So for me, talking about any trends in 2025, of course, I know these things, and I truly believe that's going to be really, really big on personal branding, like you're talking about. It's going to be big, still going to keep on being big on videos and just content creating, and that's like in that sense. But for me, always what I say, no matter what you're doing, is always about like yourself, about who you want to be and who you want to bring to the table. So I started my career as chasing views, chasing likes, pleasing. I looked at the video and saw like, okay, this video got that many likes. How can I make it have more likes? How can I make more views? So I started my career on that strategy. It got me popularity and got me a lot of views and a lot of people talking about me in Iceland. But looking back on my first years of what I was doing, I don't regret anything. I didn't do anything that was like that I don't believe in, but I was like not the version of me that I wanted to keep on building and proving. So for me, always doesn't matter what year it is, in my opinion, is always about at your core, what do you want to create? Is it sustainable? Is it something that you can maintain doing? And of course, it's all about what you're passionate about. If you haven't found your passion, it's okay. Just keep on exploring. I truly believe passion comes into exploring and testing things, of course, but double down on things that you like, things that you want to create, things that you want to like show to the world. And we talked about like how to start doing this. It's about what you want to give to people, and it's all about giving. But you need to, of course, understand what you want to give. And so yeah, I will definitely wanna answer this question with that. Like, where are the person that is creating, what is their passion and what they wanna show to their followers and audience, and then learn about the likes, then learn about the views, because then you can double down on, okay, this content that I love to do got more likes than this content that I love to do. Of course, do more of that. Use the trending. Data is king. Data is everything when it comes to like doubling down on things. So yeah, that's what I look into in the new year.
That's a very important aspect that you've touched on, because well, I mean, when you're trying to being authentic is important, because only then are you able to scale. Because I mean, this, as we both know, is not a sprint. You can't. It's like you can't eat salad for 1 week and expect six-pack abs. I mean, this has to become like a lifestyle. So content creation, especially as we go into 2025, the competition is also increasing. There are many more content creators than there were like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So this is a marathon, and you have to be authentic. And I think people also somehow, I don't know if you notice this, but somehow whenever I feel that the post is not me, it's not really genuine, it also does not perform as well. It's so weird. Like, people also can, I think, read behind the bullshit. I think that's super important for us to be cognizant of. But also, only authenticity can be scalable. So you have to stay true to yourself. And I think it's going to be, you're just putting a lot of pressure on yourself and just unnecessary stress and anxiety if you're trying to pretend to be somebody else as well. Unless, you're that is your persona on social media, where you're a comedian and you have a mask on. I mean, that is also some, different. But yeah, I think being authentic is super important.
I agree. But like talking about the mask and talking about creating some persona, in so many cases, at least in my experience, and also what we've learned about people that do create some persona, it can be really challenging in the personal life to have like a public persona that is like this, and the home, I'm like this home. It can definitely been really, really challenging to maintain that. So a lot of examples. I don't think I need to mention any names, but have been out there with a mask and create some persona that went well for 5 years, 10 years. But what is the person? How does that person feel today? And how is they just in some kind of maybe some kind of addiction into like the English word is more like not acceptance of like these two personas, and denying their own personality. Because what I've literally spoken to people that have done these things before, and they tell me like they don't like me. They just like the character that I create, and I don't like that character anymore. What I'm gonna do? Like, they don't like me when I go on the street. People that take selfies, they want to take selfies with this persona, but I'm not that on the street. So definitely can be challenging when it comes to the mask thing. I'm not saying nothing is, in my opinion, is impossible. And if you want to create that, if you're listening now and you want to create some character, be just mindful of that. If you need to always work on yourself and your inner self before you start creating some personas, because it's all about how you feel about yourself when you go to sleep. Like, how do you feel about yourself, not the character that you're building, because that can be two different things. Just to follow up on
quite interesting. And I think there's a big difference between content creators on social media and perhaps maybe movie actors. So if you're acting and if you have a persona for a particular role in a movie, on a TV series, that is different because it's limited. It is a sprint. You're doing it for a couple of weeks, you're doing it for a couple of months, maybe a couple of years, and then you stop. But here, if you're creating a personal brand off the back of that persona, and like you rightly said, like, I mean, year on year, that just becomes your life. And then it's very conflicting, because if you don't do that, then what do you do? Because people know you because of that. And it's also your livelihood. Because then what do you do? Like, you stop your livelihood. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, it's challenging, but I think I think just to simplify it, being authentic, share, because the world also just, wants to know you. I think that is also important because everyone, I mean, you would think that, the content that I'm putting out there has been done 100 times, but yes, true, but there's a unique perspective to that content, which only you can bring. I think that is very important for us to understand as well, not to fit in, but how do you stand out?
Definitely. And being authentic for people can be like scary, of course. And I understand that of being like, what if they don't like me? Like I'm putting myself out here and people don't like me. Like that's rejection, like on me. They're not just rejecting my mask or my character that I built. They're rejecting me. So it's just important for everybody to know, like you can't be there for, you can't be, not everybody can like you, like, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah, because I learned a really, really important lesson when I was a child. It was like, there was a person in my class that hated me like so, like with passion. There was like a passion of hate, and I didn't understand. I was like, what's going on? And then we went to the head teacher or whatever you call it, principal, and the principal said, like, what did Nok do that you hate so much? And he said, he is always smiling and laughing and he is always happy.
What?
And I was like, interesting. So he hated me for that. So people can hate me for being hate on me, or like I don't take it personally. Like, but like they can hate just my energy and how I am. Of course, I'm not gonna then let everybody like me. It was so good lesson about like if people can hate you or not. Let's make it a little bit like not like you. Hating is really like a like big word, but like not liking you. That's okay because people can like you, not like you for something that is good for you, like feeling good, or people can hate you for or not like you for being successful or being something like that is positive for your life, and that's just okay. That's definitely okay. So you can be sometimes too good for somebody in some sense, like and they don't like it. And what are you gonna do about it? Not be good? No, should I? What was my game plan to be? Like, I'm not gonna be as happy. If it was like
miserable,
if it was like I was definitely listen to his feedback. If it was like if I'm too loud or if I'm laughing too hard because I'm interrupting him, it was nothing about that. It was just because I was just always like really happy kid.
Wow.
So but a beautiful lesson. And that person came to me like 7-8 years ago. And then we had a beautiful hug, and it was definitely a beautiful moment. It was like it was nothing personal, and he had worked on himself, and so it was really a beautiful moment.
Oh, that's amazing. I think two things off the back of that. First is, looking inwards is super important. Always just look inwards because that is the only thing you can control. You cannot control the external. And I think the second thing is people grow. I mean, of course, that at that time, maybe you guys were kids, or he was a child, and then that's growth off the back of it. But it's not limited to that. I mean, you and I will grow. Hopefully, we should be growing. Next year, we should be and we should strive to be growing and learning and doing better. So people grow, which is amazing.
100%.
Yeah,
definitely.
Talking about social media again, there's a lot of. There's pros and cons to everything in life. Social media also has a lot of negative effects. Now we're talking about personal brand and, how can people create more content and better content and so on. But like some countries now these days have also banned social media for, I think age of 16 or under 16, So what do you have to say about that? Like all the negative effects of social media, especially on the younger generation?
That's a really good question. From my perspective, everything can be overused, everything can be misused, and things like that, and everything have a negative impact. I can have a food in front of me and I eat it and it's good for me, and I can eat too much of it or eat of not enough of it. so but of course our food, some of our food though are designed or like they're created with the intention of getting your attention or getting your like to definitely we have food out there that is like scientifically like thought of like being a little bit of like I want more. There's definitely some elements in it. I know it's been like legislation. Some words are like pronunciation have been around that, of course. But when it comes to social media, you have like I don't know, yeah, definitely thousands of brilliant and intelligent engineers, developers, and people that are making the social media and making your phone more addictive. They're not saying like how can you make it that more addictive today, where they're not that I'm not saying that that's the agenda here, but the agenda is like how can we make people use us more, how can we use them more. So definitely it's a challenge with social media with your phone. It's definitely that there's so many brilliant minds doing their very, very best to get your attention, to spend more time there. Definitely that's attention. So I understand that is a bigger threat when it comes to social media, when it comes to these things. But my point here is like everything comes to being taking full responsibility for how you use these things. And it doesn't matter what it is. AI, of course, is a big like positive, like big topic of is it positive, is it negative? People are going to misuse. Like that's just how it is. We invent as a human being, like a humankind, we invented so many things that are positive, but people used it in a negative. So like in other words, it's like you can definitely take full responsibility, and that's a practice. That's definitely something that I've had to practice myself, is take full responsibility for my time, for my focus when it comes to these things. And it's really good for us all to understand that environment is really important when it comes to like well-being. We are like as a species, we are like really good at adapting to environment. So make your environment as best as possible. Take out the notification that are meant to ping you in, meant remember you to go in. Eliminate them, like minimize them. Take responsibility for how you not just use it, but how the structure around it is. And I know like you can put in like on Instagram, you can say like, I just want to spend here 1 hour a day, and when it comes to notification, you spend that 1 hour, you just click okay, and you keep on going. I understand that, but you need to step back and take full responsibility for how you can be mindful of using these things. So yeah, that's my long answer to this question.
No, the analogy about food was on point, Nok, because yeah, I eat food. Food is good for me. It nourishes me, and it's a necessity. I need food. If I don't eat food, I'm going to die. But the same thing that is keeping me alive can also kill me, but it's also, again, perspective, and balance is the key. You consume what you know is right for you, and it's going to not only help you sustain life, but thrive. And same thing goes with social media, because social media is, you can use it for education and to help yourself grow, or you can use it at your own detriment and, go downward spiral. And then you just hours and hours of, scrolling, and you're not just wasting your time, you're wasting your life. I think that's very important for us to understand. So it's not really social media, and it's good to talk about this, because there's a lot of conflicting narratives around, should we use it, not use it. For me, I feel, again, I'm with you. I've learned just so much off the back of social media. I mean, YouTube is my university. Like, it's just amazing. So there's just so much good that I've been able to gain from social media, and really, it's my choice. I mean, I can keep on wasting time if I wanted to, but I can leverage that. A lot of the things that I now do within business is because of social media, because of the information I've learned from those great creators as well on social media. Because you rightly said, they're very smart people who are making these social media platforms, but they're very smart people who are also creating content on these platforms. So there's a lot of value on these platforms also. So I think it's very important for us to be mindful on and choosing, which, I mean, even exercise, you can over exercise and you can enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you can run too much.
Yeah, you can run too much, and like there's just so much. I think anything in excess, I think we should be mindful of.
Definitely. So yeah, definitely agree with this, and also about the content that is made there. There's so many positive things that there are there, and we are educating people about social media. Of course, that's really good. But I think is most important thing is to educate people on taking full responsibility.
Right.
I understand that under 18, it's okay to think about like how much can we actually educate in these things when it comes to like just how our brain works, like our prefrontal cortex, the front side of the brain, it's evolving, and it needs, of course, we need our prefrontal cortex to make some decisions and disciplines and things like that. So I understand, like understanding the beauty of our brain and how humans work. When we start educating these things, I think we can start educating these things really soon, really early on. When it's the kids, definitely we can do it. But when it comes to like taking full responsibility for your time and priority, it's really important for us to educate in all ages, but like at least take full responsibility when you're like adult, when you're don't be a victim of like of these things, like I'm just like, this is just so addictive, this is just so like this is that. It's not, we need to look inwards, like internally on what's going on, and that's definitely changed my life when I stopped being a victim. Of course, I sometimes I feel in some certain like when something happens, when some triggers comes in, I feel like a victim sometimes. It feels like it, but I don't. I'm not a victim. I'm not put myself as an identity in a situation that I am. So that's really important for all of us to have in mind, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Accountability is super important. Anything that we do, not just limited to social media, I think is super. It's very easy to point fingers and blame, the social media companies or whatever else. I'm not here to judge right or wrong, but I think, again, like I said before this as well, when you spoke about that kid in the school, in your classroom, accountability, looking inwards is super important, because that's the only thing you can control. You cannot control the external factors. Talking about businesses investing their money now on, through influencers. So where do you see, again, maybe talking about the trend, but also the return on investment? I mean, is there anything that you have noticed, because obviously the last 10 years, you see the shift on spend has shifted, from print, radio, TV, moving to digital, and that spend is keeping on increasing. Within digital sphere as well, things are changing, how much money you're spending on, ad dollars on Meta versus influencer marketing, whatever. I mean, return on investment, just high level, if you can walk me through that.
Definitely. So like in the last 5 years, the budget into influencer marketing has like four times more.
Wow.
So it's like really growing a lot. What I believe in will be the trend in 2025 and also just in the future is that we can rely much more on the tech to understand what is the best influencer for the brand. So we have like a micro, macro, mega influencer. We have a lot of types of influencers. We have millions of influencers. So that's good. I like that, of course. But how can some marketing director, some influencer manager, how can they understand what is the best for the brand? What is the best fit? Okay, they can search into some kind of platforms and things like that. But relying on the tech of understanding the data, understanding what's going on, is something that is definitely going to be a trend in the next couple of years and next year to come, is to find the right influencers. Of course, it's been for a while. There's a lot of platforms out there that does that. But the next big thing is that the influencers that are creating the content are most often, like a lot of times at least, the brand is like micromanaging the content. Like, oh no, we want more. We don't want the brand to be more like this. We want the brand to be. We want to show the logo a little bit like this. Okay, some things I understand, but some things is too much directing. Some things are so way off for influencers to create. and show to their audience that the promotion, the paid partnership is not going to be effective. It's not going to be good, because it's like two circles that needs to be a sweet spot of. It's like the content that the influencer is creating for their followers. That's where followers, the reason why followers are here. And then the brand message. So when you have a sweet spot between the content for the audience and the brand message in like the same video, then you have a really, really good paid partnership. And that's what tech can help us with. Help us to understand how likely is the audience to like this video? How likely are they gonna engage with this video and this message? And that's something that I think is definitely gonna be a big part of more successful brands, more successful influencers. This beautiful win-win situation to use the tech, because it's really challenging for biased influencer to say like, this is what my followers want to see, because that's what the influencers see, and the influencer manager sees this, but they have the money, so the influencer are gonna say like, okay, I need the money, so I'm gonna do this for the influencer. Like, but the AI has at least less bias than a human being. And I've heard a lot of like discussion about like AI being biased. I understand that. But humans are biased. We are all biased in some way, and from our perspectives. And I'm really big on like bias for being an influencer and having info. That's why I have like a partner that's biased on brands, so we can create a technology that combines these biases into a sweet spot of win-win. So that's going to be big in the next couple of years. It's going to be the content creation support to influencers for how to optimize and maximize their paid partnership content to make a win-win situation for both. And that's what we're doing at Lydia. That's why I'm also biased in that.
It's interesting you speak about AI being biased, and I keep saying that as well. I mean, obviously we use AI in Plum and a lot of things that we do, and I'm super excited how the world's already changed because of AI, and how it's going to keep on changing and evolving in 2025 and so on. But yeah, I mean, human beings, we're all biased. And I think human beings as a collective, saying AI is biased, that is also bias. Us collectively, we're being biased for the human race, So it's quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, does Lydia already help brands facilitate some elements of that? Like as a brand, I could come to Lydia and it can help me, guide me, who's the right fit for me. Does it do any part of that?
Yeah, just for our platform, all you need to do as a brand, you just create a campaign brief, what your objectives are and what the campaign is about, and you just submit the campaign, and that's it. You don't need to do anything else, and just wait for the results. It's too good to be true. But that's how it is, and that's our future vision, is to then make the result better and better and better. Of course, we are early on in this process, but the results are getting better and better each. I know it's like a really a lot to say, but each week we're getting better and better into understanding what is the best paid partnership for both as possible.
You're going to be seeing a new account being created from someone in Plum. This is for sure.
This is for sure. I will do my very, very best. And of course, our mission is to be obsessive with meeting your needs. So we will be doing that for all of our customers.
I'm looking forward to it. Nok, this is your first interview in English.
Yes.
So I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell. So fantastic. This is being a true immigrant. You've come to an English-speaking country. But you're also long away from home. I mean, now you've reached the stage, you have a business in a new country, you first interview in English. If you were to go back to that little kid in school who was confused why this person doesn't like me, what would you tell that person today?
Beautiful question. When it comes to English, speaking English, I would tell myself I can learn English and I can speak English. Because when I was, that's like very interesting when we talk about that, because I've been to many podcasts and like most of the biggest podcasts in Iceland. I speak, of course, Icelandic, and I've been on that. Been definitely an absolute honor. But not like we're talking about 6 years ago, 6-8 years ago, when I was traveling with my friends, they were laughing because of my English. Not because they're bad friends, but because there was a banter, because I was really bad in English. And they thought it was so funny when we were traveling here. When we were here in London, I was just making a, I was just making making an order at a restaurant, and they laughed like the whole evening because I was just saying like, I just want a steak. It was like, how could I fuck that up? Excuse my language. But like, so it's funny to say that, like, we're talking about English here. It's like that I was definitely really bad at speaking English. And 4 years ago, literally 4 years ago, I made a decision. I'm gonna be good in speaking English. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna make the move. So that's how extreme I can be, and I am in many cases. Everybody that I talked to for 3 months in Iceland, I spoke English to.
Really?
At the office. I was of course, my main, I was like 12, 14 hours a day at the office. So my main conversation was in English. And speaking to, when we got used to it at the office, and people like guests were coming in, and I was speaking English, and people were like so confused.
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, like what? And also changed my Icelandic content into English content.
Oh.
I got a lot of people talking and like what well, that's strange. Like, why is my Icelandic name? Why is Nökkvi? Why is his name now Nok, and he's speaking English? Who does he think he is? Like things like that. But that's part of the process progress here. Is then to your question is like, what would I tell myself, younger self? Is that you are good at speaking English. You're good. I know that I was not good at that point, but you can be good. I had for too long limiting belief of I was not good in English. I'm really good at speaking Icelandic, my first language. So I was limiting myself on creating content and creating things for Icelandic people for so many years, based on that limiting belief. Literally based on that.
Wow.
I was still in Iceland because I thought, okay, when it comes to entertainment, I'm probably just going to be Icelandic entertainer because I'm so bad at English. And I didn't do anything about that. I didn't do anything about it. And it was just like a limited belief. So for myself, as a younger self, work on your limited beliefs. Of course, accept them and see where they are and get to know yourself about them and work on them. And what I mean by working on them is actually put in the work and learn English. And my massive action was for 3 months in 2020, I spoke English in every conversation. It was also conflicting conversation with like the crucial conversation you have in business. People speaking to me in Icelandic about something that happened in the business. I was like trying. I will use mindfully trying there because I was actually trying to speak English and explain to them what was going on. And people, I was definitely frustrating for people, and many people said like, "Can you just please speak Icelandic too?"
You annoyed a lot of people.
I was like, because I wanted to be able to explain in English also what I was going to explain in Icelandic. That helped me a lot these 3 months. So yeah, that's work on your limiting beliefs, and also just for myself today, I'm still working on my limiting beliefs, and also for people that are listening, everybody here, like everybody that is listening, work on your limiting beliefs. It's so much about first accept them. Accept that we have limiting beliefs, acknowledge them and see what they are, and get help with it also. Coaches, therapists, psychologists, it's so many YouTube books, it's so many ways to work on your limited beliefs. So I'm gonna say like that's gonna be my message today is work on your limited beliefs, and yeah, life will never be the same again if I can quote again my probably my biggest mentor, Tony Robbins. I've learned from him, from his seminars and from his books and from his audio books and things like that. But one day I will learn from him personally.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think it's so true. I mean, limiting beliefs, once you start working on that, the world just becomes your oyster. It's crazy just to think that one aspect of language, how that's opened the entire world for you. I mean, yeah, that's no better answer to end this pod on. Thank you so much, Nok, for coming on this pod. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I learned a lot from you, and I wish you all the best. Wish all the best to Lydia and your co-founder as well. And like I said, I will keep to the promise. You will get a new registration from Plum, and hopefully, I hope we can continue this journey together.
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me and for being here and just like having this genuine conversation from the beginning for my first conversation and also to this podcast here. I made a new friend. So
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nok. Thank you.